Module 2 or Module 5, Lesson 2, we look at how to find the area of right triangles. This first page in Explorer is an exploratory challenge that we're going to skip for now. So we're going to go ahead and go straight to the exercises. So if you look over here, we talked yesterday about how to find the area of a triangle, and the formula for the area is 1/2 base times height, or base times height divided by 2. Now, with a right triangle, it's really easy because our base, we want to look at what are the two lines that are touching that right angle. And those two are the 15 and the 8. And so my formula is 1/2 base times height. This here is my base, this is my height. And so I replace the values, and that's going to be 1/2 15 times 8. 15 times 8 is 120. So this is 1/2 times 120. And that is equal to 1/2 times 120 over 1. Multiply straight across, that's 120. 2 times 1 is 2. 120 divided by 2 is 60. And so the area equals 60 square feet. So we go to the next one. I look at where that right angle is. I see what are my two lines touching it. I have my base. I have my height. Remember, the height is the line that's straight up and down. And so that would be 1/2 base times height. So that's 1/2 my base times my height. And that would be 201. So this is 1/2 times 201 and 78/100 over 1. 201 and 78/100 divided by 2 is 189/100 square centimeters. Go ahead and solve number 3 and number 4 right now. Pause the video and see if you get them correct. Hit play when you are ready to begin. So, base and height, again, I want to look at where are they touching here. And my two lines touching, my right angle is the 8 and the 6. So this is my base, this is my height. That would be 1/2 base times height. So that's 1/2 8 times 6, which is 1/2 times 48 over 1, because 8 times 6 is 48, and whole numbers are over 1. That's 48 divided by 2, which is 24 inches squared. So we can just box those in. And let's go to the last one on this page, number 4. Again, I find my right angle. What are the two sides that are touching it? This is our base, this is our height. 1/2 base times height. So that's 1/2 8 2/3 times 5 3/5. Before we can multiply mixed numbers, we need to change them to improper fractions. 3 times 8 is 24, plus 2 is 26, so that's 26/3, times 5 times 5 is 25, plus 3 is 28/5. I'm going to multiply straight across. 26 times 28 is 728 over 15, and don't forget we're multiplying it by 1/2. So 1 times 728 is 728. 2 times 15 is 30. We'll simplify that by dividing. So you have 728 divided by 30. That's 2. That's 128. That would be 30 times 4 is 120. You get a remainder 8. So that's 24 and 8/30. 8 and 3 both can be divided by 2. And so your answer is 8 and 4/15, or 24, 24 and 2, we're dividing by 2, so this would be 4, and 30 divided by 2 is 15, and our measurement is in square meters. So if you go on to the next page, we have a couple scenarios that you're going to solve. I'm going to have, I will do a couple word problem examples for you. I would like you to try to work through these on your own. Pause the video, work, and then have me check it. You are not going to do the next page. So for number 5, you should have identified this is the base, this is the height, and that you're taking 1/2 base times height, so that's 1/2. 32 and 7/10 times 21 and 4/10. After you multiply those together, $699, 78/100 times 1/2 is 699 and 78/100 divided by 2, and you would have gotten 349 and 89/100. So then the area is equal to 349 and 99/100 kilometers squared. For number 6, you would say both are true. It is just 2 ways of finding a half of the square. So whether you do a diagonal of a square or you cut it here, they're both the same size, sizes. So a rectangle or a square, half of a rectangle or half of a square is still half, whether it's a diagonal or it is a straight line through the middle. Next one, Ben requested that the rectangular stage be split into 2 equal sections from the upcoming play. The only instruction he gave was that he needed the area of each to be half of the original. If Ben wants the stage to be split into 2 right triangles, did he provide enough information? Why or why not? And this is all kind of based off of opinion. The answer would actually be no, because a stage split in half can be done multiple ways. And so he needed to be specific about the diagonal. And then your very last one, if the area of a right triangle is 6 and 22/100 and its base is 3 and 11/100, write an equation. So here's your equation. Remember, 1/2 base times height, and so equals the area. So I have 1/2, my base is 3 and 11/100 times my height is equal to 6 and 22/100 square inches. Now, if I were to multiply this out, so I would actually take all of these together, and because of the rule with multiplication, it doesn't actually matter which order we multiply in. And so what we'd have here is 1/2 times 3 11/100 times h. What we can do is divide by 1/2 to start. So divide by 1/2, which is the same as 6 22/100 times 2/1, which would be 12 44/100. So that would mean that 3 11/100 times h is equal to 12 44/100. And the opposite of multiplication is division. So I would divide by 3 11/100. And you get that the height equals 4 inches because that is equal to 4. At this point, I'd like you to go ahead and grab your problem set, work through that, turn it in so that I can check your work.